Hello, viewer, and welcome to Spotlight here on Hope TV, where you look and live. And here we are, and we are glad that the sun is back after a season of just heavy rains, and we didn't know when they would end, but thankfully the sun is out, and all of us enjoying the sunshine, and the anxiety is now dying down about just this nation and the floods. And again, we continue to extend an invitation to all of us that even as we move into the sunshine, there are families that are yet to move to the sunshine. So even as you enjoy the sunshine, do remember to help the families that are still caught up because they were in one way or other devastated by the flood. So do not close your heart, do not close that chapter until all the camps and all the people who are affected by the floods have been sorted. And you are there, and in your heart of hearts, you know God is pushing you in a certain direction to help these people. Do not toughen your heart. Please do open your heart to the people who are suffering. It pleases God. And here on Hope Media, we are celebrating 20 years, and these 20 years have been 20 years of bringing the Lord Jesus Christ to you and just here in the airwaves. And we therefore also need to just invite you again so that you can be part of the Friends of Hope. And therefore, just you're welcome to the events that are happening at this time. We'll be mentioning them in the course of this program, again, as we celebrate the faithfulness of God. Now, when we think about young people, it's their whole discussion politically. There are discussion in terms of economics. There are discussion, and some of the people who are at the heart of the young people are the youth pastors. And today we are honored to have with us one of the lead youth pastors in the city. That is Pastor David Ndegerege, who is the youth pastor at St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church. And we're going to be engaging on the topic youth, the mystery and their ministry. Again, just wanting to know, how do we engage young people at such a time as this, especially on matters faith? Pastor David, welcome to Spotlight.
Thank you so much. I've been many times on the other side of the screen, just watching a few people discuss things in a very nice way. And I would say, of course, congratulations for the 20-year anniversary for the media. Keep doing it. Keep bringing Jesus on the airwaves. Very important. So I'm happy to be here, even as we serve the Lord using this way in the media. And I'm very impressed. 20 years is a lot of time, meaning that this began way before people thought about going full-time on virtual space. And so for the young people, virtual space is very important. And the Bible says, go ye into all the world. The world of the young people is in the social media. That's where they are. So you are right at the heart of the pulpit, that speaks to the young people here in the country, but all over the world.
All right. And when you're at that, we just also want to say that in that spirit of celebrating 20 years of Hope Media, would want to invite you to the Experience Hope. That is a worship concert that is happening to celebrate this time of being on the airwaves, and these will be the celebrations will be on the 24th and 25th. And for you to get the ticket, you can do that through the website. That is hopemediakenya.org. You can also dial star 826 star 50 hash, and you will also have your ticket to this worship concert. And we are happy that these events are sponsored by Hope Media, by Enwealth, by Little, by EAK, to Livu, Cave, Sitam Kadolta. And just happy to have these sponsors on board as we have this time of celebration. Again, as you say, the media and young people, they are just together, right? And young people are growing up at a time when media is not something they are learning, it's something that they are living in.
The reality is that we call them digital natives. Because some of us are immigrants. You came and then you found another world and entered. But for them, they don't know any other world. If you begin to explain to them a time without internet, they don't get it. Without a smartphone, how? How are you surviving? So for them, this is their world. And in this world, they are the ones who actually guide us around. I mean, the 20-year-olds, when you are starting the media, there are people who are born then, and they have found, they don't know a world without Hope Media. They don't know it. So, and there are people guiding us through. So for us to ask ourselves, how ought we to serve in this era of digital natives? People who don't know any other world. This is the world that they live in. So we must navigate it because God has called us such a time as this.
Yeah. All right. You know, as a youth pastor, they say that there are some ministries that are not for everyone.
Yeah.
Like being a youth pastor, definitely you cannot just say, I want to be a youth pastor. And just want to maybe get from you, as talk about young people, what's a memorable high thing that you know, gives you a kick as you enter into your space of work every single day?
Now, as you say, of course, ministry to the young people is not for everyone. And of course, many people would want to identify with the youth when the youth is, you know, the youth are serving them. So it's a buzzword for politicians, it's a buzzword even for churches when they say we are serving the youth. When you're writing proposals as an NGO, you say it will also impact the youth. When it comes to really serving the youth, you have to have a heart for it. So for me, it's not even the big moments where I have had to speak to thousands of them. For me, it's the stories that, for me, amaze me. The stories that I sit down and reason to. Give you one of them as one of my high moments. One of the times we were just having an event in church, and one of the youth actually came. He said he was invited and he was drunk. And when he came, you know, I hugged him and told him, have a seat. And then I asked him, where you were drinking? Did you leave a few people who would like to come? And he said, yeah, you want me to go for them? And I said, yes, please do. So he went and came with a few more drunk people. And of course, it was some drama there in church. And they sat in my office. And we sat there, talked with them. And then I told them we have a program happening shortly, so I want to pray for you if you have any needs, and then we'll go. And they began asking me, you will not tell us that we have done wrong. You want to tell us, you don't tell us that being drunk is wrong. Say, I mean, all these things you know. I wanted to tell you something different. I want to say that the Lord loves you and I love you. I want to tell you that you are welcome in this office any day. Any day, welcome to this office. So I prayed for them, and I could tell even when we were going through the program, they were bewildered. Why would you accept us like this? Why are you not condemning us? We are used to it. We were waiting for the bashing, and they didn't get any. So a few days later, one of them comes back, now sober, and we begin to have conversations. And we continue this conversation, and then he just comes one in the morning and says, where are you? I say, I'm on my way. And he says, yesterday I gave my life to Christ, and I've been sober for 10 days. And the way he was saying it is not like 10 days. It is, I've been sober for 10 days. It was a huge thing for him. And you could tell he was lighting up, and he just giving me his story and saying how happy he is. And so we prayed with him. When I see such a moment, I say, I woke up the following day. I'll continue. And I told him, keep on telling them they have a place here in the office. So for me, it is the stories that inspire more than the big, the multitude and the conference setting that we have. It is the individual stories that keep me going.
Yeah, so stories about young people and lives changed. And I'm sure that you also get some low points in your work as you engage young people. Maybe you can tell us something about your low moments.
Now, there's a low moment that happened to me some time back, and I've had to reflect on it because of the way I'm seeing the young people right now. I was preaching somewhere in Moy's Bridge, and I was preaching in a crusade. Towards the end, we were having an altar call, and this young boy held my trouser. And then I went to him to reason what he's saying, and he said, do not finish before I come. I said, okay. How long will I wait? So I told the praise and worshipers to keep singing until the boy comes back. So the boy came back with the mother. The mother was extremely drunk, extremely drunk. And so I asked him, what would you like me to do? And he says, pray for my mother to be a better person. It broke my heart. That this is a young boy, class 4, class 5, who is looking for a solution because he's in a home where he feels the person he loves is not a good person. And so I talked to the mother for some time, of course, telling her this is not the right thing to do. You are hurting this boy beyond imagination. And he's trying to do something about it. So you need to do something about it. Of course, we had conversations even after,
But I can tell you that for me was a very low moment. And I'm just giving that, but there are many more. But I feel so bad when I meet a young person who has come from a place of oppression, a place where he himself has to be the adult in the family. He has to grow up beyond his time. I feel so bad. Now, the worst would be if that boy came to church and because he's not well dressed, he's not well cultured or well mannered, even he's eating, maybe he's taking tea and 5 mandazis, you know, and then we tell him, we bash him. Say, we don't do things like that. Have you not been taught by your mother to better manners? I mean, so every time I see a young person, that story rings in my head, and I say, I don't know where they're coming from. So the way they came, I'm okay. I'll receive them the way they came, embrace them, and work with them from where they are. So that, for me, forms one of the early moments.
In part of the national conversation in this country, no one goes without mentioning the youth. And one of the things that makes the young people mentioned is statistics. There are many. I mean, actually, they are the majority when it comes to the demographics of this country. But the way they are engaged, it's as if they are a problem. You know, what do we do with these young people who are a time bomb, you know, and that kind of language? I mean, how do you perceive that in terms of, is that the right approach to receive this demographic, or is there another way of seeing it?
Now, you have, that's spot on. I mean, young people are treated with such suspicion. There are very many. We want them. We want their votes. We want their hallelujahs in church. In fact, a number of times I've felt like a babysitter in church. Of the way sometimes a parent engages, where is my son? You know, where are youth walking around church? So we are not engaging the youth pastor to minister to them. We are engaging a babysitter so that they are not unruly. Sometimes they are engaged as a problem, as people who cause violence during politics, which is not the reality. The reality is that there are so many young people who are responsible. They are growing, they are having an identity issue, and when they get it right, and they do so many good things. Now, the church sometimes also gets it wrong, because they like come and talk to the young people, and they are telling them, I'm talking to you because you are weak. I'm talking to you because the devil has overcome you. I'm talking to you because you don't know the word of God. Now, I want to read a scripture, the book of 1 John chapter 2, verse 14. Towards the end, it says, I write to you, young men, because you are strong, and the word of God lives in you, and you have overcome the evil one. That's the opposite of what we think. And I can tell you this, that perception is wrong. I've seen young people who love the Lord. I've seen young people who are passionate about what they stand for. I've seen young people who know a lot, who are knowledgeable, and they have done their research. I've seen young people who do an excellent job. And so when I see that in my eyes, I wonder, how come others don't open their eyes to see? But as long as you see the young people as recipients of your ministry, as subjects of your leadership, as long as you see them as the people who just receive to be seen and not heard, you will never enjoy or see, the fruit of working with them, because they are the best evangelists to themselves. They are the ones who can motivate each other. They understand each other. I'll give you one example, a very live one, because I'm still living it. Last Sunday, we had the youngest elder in the PCA church speak to us. He was ordained at 24. So this young man, still single and vibrant, came, and we were there. And he preached. Now, because he's a guest, I had made sure he would get like 30 minutes or 40 minutes at best. And he did 13 minutes. And he sat. And I could tell everyone is wondering, will the pastor add a few more details? Sometimes before the sermon starts, some people go for a short course, and they can come back and sit now for a longer time. They came back and found him concluding. And I said, I'll not add anything. But then I'll have to engage that in my mind. But the other young people enjoyed it. They were happy. They kept on saying it was brief, it was to the point, and I got this, I got the other, and I said, wow. I have to allow it that way, because he knows and he understands best that those 13 minutes meant more than my 40 minutes. So when you engage them to do the work, then you enjoy how they do it, and they reach the young people more than you yourself, who thinks you know more than them.
When you mention that, it brings to mind another, engagement about the generational gap. He is done in 13 minutes. There are almost like 27 minutes out there, and you are wondering how, what do I do with this? What happened? So it's like you're 27 minutes off, if I may use that phrase. Yeah. So it comes to the generational gap, and one of the things about it is that people don't know, like the young people, it's as if they don't want to understand the older generation, and the older generation has actually already declared they don't understand young people. Yeah. And so there is a kind of a tension between the generations. Can you speak to that?
Now, let me say, the negative parts of the youth have become very pronounced. So, because they want to be heard and they want to be seen, they cause havoc so that you can see them. And this happens from homes. If you have a young person in the home and you are not noticing they are there, they will do everything to make sure you notice them. So they may, just break some grass or shout or dance before you or just switch off everything. So they are trying to be noticed. And as they try to do that, people feel they are destructive, they're not doing the right thing. And then when you try to engage them, they're just quiet. So you begin to feel, are we in the same wavelength? Somebody was saying that we may not be reading from the same page, but I don't think we're even reading the same book. We are not reading the same book in terms of, because the only way to understand young people is to listen to them. So the way to bridge the gap is to listen. Listen more. And don't go there to respond. Reason more. And please know that they have their own guides to themselves. You cannot write a guide about young people. Allow them to. And I want to say this. It's scary. It is not an easy thing. To allow young people to guide you, to allow them to educate you, it's not easy. Sometime back when the first line of youth pastors came, now the first line of youth pastors are now in their 50s. They are now in their 50s. And even them right now, they are feeling it difficult to release. Even them. So you go to a meeting full of youth pastors, and there's nobody below 35. So, so the gap is real. Yeah. So now they understand what was happening when pastors were allowing them to serve. They really took a big leap of faith. So it takes faith for you to understand them. So I would say, we need to bridge that. And the older people need to be the first ones to do so. Because when you listen to them, then they might listen to you. And it's also good to understand that the way young people listen, they engage. We listen by just attentively listening. But for them, the way they listen is that as you talk, they question you. Let me give you a basic example that happened in a meeting. So we go to a meeting and we first say, let's introduce ourselves so that then we know each other, and then we'll ask these young people who take us through how they would like us to speak to them. So we introduce ourselves, and the first young person to talk asked a question that put me off. What's that? He asked, why are you saying your three names? So because everybody was saying their three names. So we were sure, for you to know me, you need to know my three names. I think, no, I don't need to. I just want to know how do you want me to address you. That's enough. I don't need to know your three names. But we grew up being told to say your three names and say where you come from and all that. So they told us, no, you don't have to. So they introduced themselves like Kev. That was enough. Call me Kev, I'm okay. And I'm saying, we need to know you are who, from which county. Can I trace your mother? You're trying to see whether you can even trace where they come from, whether you know their parents. They didn't want that. They wanted to say, no, me. It's me. This is Kev, so talk to me. And so I would say, listen more. Allow them to interrupt you. Don't say, don't interrupt me as I speak. Immediately you tell them not to interrupt you, they are done with you. The gap increases. But if you say, okay, let me hear, when they interrupt, do it. When they take your direction, they tell you, no, I'm not interested in that, I would like to hear this. Then you go there, because that is the only way you are going to listen to each other. But if you come with a lecture of 5 pages, and you are saying, with this young person, I must finish my 5 pages, you are lost. Let them guide you into knowing them so that they can also know you. Yeah.
Okay. The generation now has very different ways of perceiving even work. And because we were used to, just once you get to work, the first thing you get a brand new suit, and some really nice polished black shoes. Yeah. But the working style of the young people now is way more unstructured, right? And then the other thing is that that could be on maybe there's something you can comment on, but also there's almost an accusation that their work ethic is really poor. You know, it's like they don't want to work. They want a lot of fame. They want a lot of money, but they don't want to put in the work, right? There's just some of those dynamics.
All right. When it comes to the work ethic, one is that the wrong things they are doing, they have learned from us. They don't have the right role models. And it's not many of them, it's just a few of them, but they are loud. Those that have a very bad work ethic are very loud. So what has happened is that the people who are rich in our generation are maybe the politicians, who we can't tell what they do for a living. The people vying for seats, and they don't have a business we know of. And they are showing off their big machines, and they are showing off all these. And they're not telling us what they do for a living, how they got there. They're just showing us the end product. So the young people sometimes think that the end product will come that easily, that you will do this and then get to that. So they have learned the bad manners from us because we are not taking them through the journey. But the reality is that it's possible to get that mentality in your mind and then judge every young person with that mentality. That's not true. For example, you will go to a boardroom meeting and no young person has a tie. Guys are in jeans, somebody is even open shoes. Because these are shoes. I mean, the essence is having shoes. So the essence is not a, so the way they dress, sometimes you may think they will not perform. And I'm reminded of somebody who gave a joke about during this rainy season, they were walking with the daughter, and he was looking for gumboots or boots that would not, and the daughter was looking for Crocs. And she said, what I need is for the water to go through. For him, is the water should not come in, but now that's the gap.
Yeah,
that's the gap. The thinking is very different. So sometimes you may judge them like that. I've gone to a meeting, and there's nobody with a notebook. And immediately I feel, hey, is this a serious meeting? Everybody has their phone, but no one has and I say, okay, let me continue, because they have to guide me how they do their thing. So after I'm done, before I get to my office, the minutes are done. They were using an AI to actually take minutes. So just refresh a bit, and then. So if I was writing with my hand, it would have taken me 2 days to type and and then send. But for them, they were using an AI, and they sent both the audio and the transcript. So they were doing it better. But you see, for me, I was disappointed. So the work is changing, and you have to allow them to accomplish. For them, they are not more of 8 to 5. For them is, what work do you want me to do? And they accomplish. They can accomplish from home, from the office, when in a car driving. Many of one lady who was very disappointed about the son, that he's not getting a job. This guy designs posters, videos for promos. The guy, sometimes in a mat from Kitengela to Nairobi, makes 5,000. He's just designing 2-3 posters and then and a promo video. And the mother is disappointed this guy is not going for an 8 to 5. The guy is making a lot of money. Those guys in suits and ties, before they make their first coin, he has made his money. So I'm asking the mother, what do you want? Do you want him to earn a living, or do you want him to have a place to go? Because it looks like you want him to have a place to go 8 to 5. But he's earning his living. He's paying his house. He's paying his master's studies, which he's studying online. So he's not going to class anywhere. He's doing his thing. So sometimes, as the older generation, we need to understand them so that we don't judge them with what we think, but judge them with the productivity that they bring, even though they look like they're not going to the office and they look like they're not listening to you.
Okay.
Just judge with productivity.
So it's a very different world. And as you say, you have to allow yourself to be taught. You don't come in as a master, you come in as a student into their world. Another observation is that this generation is more girl-led. It is girl power is everywhere, and so the issue of the man, the boy, and being a follower in the culture, it's a culture that favors, in a way, the woman and the ladies. And you look at many institutions, including even romantic relationships, you find that they are mostly girl-led. And the institution as well. Even a lot of leadership now is becoming more women are becoming more dominant at the top. Unlike a previous generation where it was the reverse, now women are more prominent at the top, whether it's student organizations, whether it is even in, enterprise or in managerial positions. Women are more at the top. That dynamic of a girl-led world or generation.
That is very true. And what has happened began by happening in the physical. What happened is that moving from modernism to postmodernism, we moved from machinery to ideas. We moved from hard power to soft power. That happened underneath. So that after the Second World War and the coming of the computers, the people who are powerful are not the people with the muscles, physical muscles, or with the machinery and everything. They are the people who have the software, who have the soft power, who are controlling the conversations. So postmodernism is nothing to do with machines. It's more of ideas. And women are good at that. No wonder they are leading. So you could be strong and with your muscles, but it is the soft power that is leading. So you find that you are selling a product, but your most important team is a sales team and it's a marketing team. But the guys who make the product are not powerful. The guy in the industry, and they are the ones who used to be powerful previously. If you could build a car, you are the guy. If you could repair the car, you are in charge. You are the engineer. I mean, engineers were serious and all that. I mean, medical doctors were powerful. Now the psychologists are. The mental health experts are actually the powerful guys. You who does surgery is another one. But the reality is, we will bring in a manager to manage you, somebody who has done business, because this is a business. I mean, this hospital needs to make money. We'll also, and the guys who lead you are the mental health experts, and the psychologists and the psychiatrists who understand the soft part. So we are no longer, the guys with the hard muscles are no longer in charge. So the man has to reinvent himself. If he does not learn how to lead with a soft power, we are lost. So even when you see men becoming softer, it is because that is the only way to go through. Because the customer does not want the guy who is knocking at the product to make it work. He wants the person who explains the experience. Even how do we sell products these days? We bring a family walking around, and then you see somebody very weak giving them the product. They take the product and they relax. So it's no longer, I was stuck, and now we beat the door and we are open. No, it is a family movement. We are not selling products, we are selling the experience. It is not. So girls have learned that. And so they are leading the conversations. So the guy with the muscle must learn the soft power. Otherwise, the man will keep being led. Nothing wrong with that, particularly, but we want to lead together. We don't want to have only the ladies leading. We want to also have the men leading. So they need to learn the soft power, the soft part of life, so that we can lead together.
Okay. Do you see a time when men are going to be so, before they adjust, before the adjustment of, before the blues are over, that these are different time. Do you see a time when there will need to be maybe for affirmative action for men? Because these days there is almost an observed reality that if you are in an interview with a lady who you're equally capable, that the system just leans towards the lady. There's an observation to that effect. So do you see a time going forward when men will have to actually now be the ones seeking for a quota? This quota is for men as compared to previously when a quota was left for women because of affirmative action.
That is not long from now. We will need it. And if I was to advise even men who are in power right now, they should enforce it. Like even the 2/3 gender rule. Enforce it now when the women are with you. Because when time comes and the women are in power, who knows whether they will accept the 2/3? But sometimes we think of it as we want to bring the women on board. They are taking over. So if you don't enforce the 2/3, enforce it for your own sake. Don't enforce it for their own sake, for your own sake. A time is going to come when we need that. Because also men will begin to take jobs that are not leadership jobs. There will be the guards at the gate. There will be the driver who's driving the CEO. There will be the cleaners. They will begin to take those jobs, and the ladies will take the seats. And that is happening already. So men need to rise up and enforce what was meant for women, but now enforce it so that when time comes that we need it, we will have it. So that is already happening. And I would say let's actually have it, so that we say, if we have these interviews, even if they are all good, we have to hire a man from this. We can't hire 4 ladies at the same time. At least one man needs to be part of it. The time is already here, but see, men are still in power, especially the older men. They are still in power. They need to enforce it now, so that we will not have to go to the streets. Because I think the younger generation will have to go to the streets.
It's interesting, thinking about the future. And also when think about this generation, especially in terms of, the moral space, right? There's a language that's dying, the language of purity, especially moral purity. The word purity is now more in terms of chemicals, like pure chemistry, for instance, But in terms of morality, purity is not talked about a lot. So it's like a dying language. Whereas in the previous generation, a language like the language of purity was strong in the identity. It was, you were measured in this. It was a measuring standard, But now when a language like purity dies, now what is replacing that?
Okay. Now, once again, is a shift that has not been made. Because the way we enforced purity some time back, it was from power. We were saying, you young person, you must be pure, so that, and you must be pure, so that, and unless you are pure, and there were threats, and that, again, that method can't work. So right now, if you want to have a culture of purity, it needs to come from a point of either heroes, in elevating it as something to be desired. And so you need to give examples of people who have lived a pure life. Because young people now are following those stories. And they want authenticity. They do not want you to come and tell them, I've lived pure, never done this, never done that. That will not buy them. They want someone who is saying, I'm struggling with it, but that's my ideal. And I'm going towards it. I'm not there, but I'm going towards it. That's the only story that they'll buy. So when we begin to bring the heroes, it is not the people who say, I remained pure until marriage. No. It's the people who say, this is the kind of life I lived. But now I have a faithful partner. We are working towards marriage. We are working this hard. I don't know whether I'll make it then, but this is my ideal. So that is raised as an ideal, something to look forward for. So we need, again, to use a soft way of elevating purity. Otherwise, if we use the hard way of text, black and white King James Version, it will not work. Say, thou shalt be pure. I tell you, that is a conviction I have, but that's not the way I preach it to the young people. Is that I have to elevate purity to a point where we desire it, like heroism. Like those who actually capture it are the people like who went for war and battle, captured it, and they come back with bruises and with everything, but they have it back home. And so that's the way now to go. So even when we want to talk about ethics, we need to elevate ethics the same way, as something to be desired, as an ultimate, as something that when you get there, you have achieved something worthwhile. So that it's not that we, if you are not ethical, we will not get medicine in the hospital. If you're not ethical, we will not get this. That language is not working. So it is to say that look at this person, look at their life, and see how by achieving this, they achieved the ultimate thing, to be ethical. And that's where all of us are going. So begin your steps towards it. Begin to work. If you arrive there with the bruises and all, you have done a good thing. You have achieved something worthwhile to achieve. So that's the way to focus.
There's a lot to think about. A lot of things. The world is changing quite a bit. Now this is now the final question for this program. It seems like we will need to converse again we're just beginning, right? But it's also the observation that in the world that is full of knowledge, in a world that is now using the knowledge towards innovation. Innovation is what is really praised. Innovators are the people to watch, right? In a world of knowledge and innovation and that kind of pushing those frontiers, that wisdom is being left behind. So it's like, let's have knowledge, but wisdom, you don't hear a lot of young people praying for wisdom, but they look for knowledge. They're having all these manner of qualifications, but wisdom is not, it's not hailed. Can you speak to that shortly?
That's the reality, because knowledge is easier to get. because it's written, it's spoken. You can get it in black and white. You can get it, and you can use you can just listen to a YouTube video, and you know something new. But wisdom takes time. There's some experience, and there is being in uncomfortable situations and all that. And once again, I would say, let's elevate wisdom above knowledge. That's the only way to bring the ideal. And the older generation needs to learn the knowledge from the younger generation that they do have, and then begin to interest them in the area of wisdom. Because if that is lacking, then somebody would know a lot, but the life they are living is a very bad life. It's a life that no one desires to live. Is unfulfilling and has no impact because they lacked wisdom. So I would say the older generation needs to, and because it's a tiresome job to get wisdom, then they need to be patient with the young people, expose them more, have them experience. These days I'm telling older people that if you're going to see your shamba in the village, tell me, and I'll give you 2 young people to accompany you. Just go talk with them to the shamba, come bring them back. Because I know they are lacking that side of wisdom. So I'm saying spend more time with them and then elevate it to a point and then be vulnerable. Tell them, I did these silly mistakes because I lacked wisdom. And I'm happy now I know this. So that they can begin to understand that their mistakes are not for nothing, but they should not make mistakes all the time. They should be able to learn from their mistakes, gain that wisdom here, and to understand even the difference between knowledge and wisdom.
Great. Thanks so much for that engagement. And I think we're just beginning. And I hope that we can be able to have another section concerning the same thing about young people, mystery. And now we get also more to the ministry to them. Again, thank you very much for coming to Spotlight. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and insights with the viewers. We are so delighted, viewer, that you have been part of this conversation. And clearly, very insightful there in terms of the eyes with which we use to see young people. And a lesson, very practical. I mean, do not pretend to know. Do not bring your world, especially if you come from another generation, do not just force your world into the world of young people. Let them invite you to it. Just go with the spirit, with the mind of learning. Let them teach you, even also as they invite you, once they trust you, to teach them as well. This is an amazing conversation. We'll continue having it. Again, here on Hope Media, we are celebrating 20 years, and the celebrations will be on the 24th and 25th. And we are encouraging as many of us as possible to just come to the event that is Experience Hope, which is a worship concert. And we will also have a great time in that experience. And you can get your ticket through the website, www.hopemediakenya.org, or you can use the code or dial star 826 star 550 hash. And we also happy to have sponsors on board, that is Hope Media, N-Wealth, Little EAK, Tulivu Cave, and Sitam Kadolta. And if you want to join this list of sponsors as we celebrate these 20 years of just serving the Lord through media here, do also engage us. I will be happy to just have you. There's space for you in these celebrations. Again, this has been Spotlight. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, because the mystery was, yeah.
This year, Hope FM is celebrating 20 years of spreading hope and inspiration in the airwaves across the globe. To mark this milestone, we invite you for an unforgettable worship ceremony dubbed Experience Hope, a soul-stirring celebration happening on the 25th of May 2024 from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Sitam Valley Road. Prepare to be moved by the soulful voice of Joel Waga from Tanzania.
Baba, umenifuta machozi.
alongside celebrated Kenyan artists Peter Watako, Kathy Praise, Bitson and Karura Voices, and Godwill Babete. Don't miss out. Get your ticket now on www.hopemediakenya.org or dial *826*50#. Charges are 1,000 shillings advance tickets and 1,500 shillings at the gate. So mark your calendar, get your praise game on, and see you at Experience Hope. All are welcome.